The name of the conflict has changed. We are more sophisticated. The Jews in the United States are very comfortable. We are, Baruch Hashem, enjoying extraordinary success. Our children are graduating from the best universities in the world. They are entering glorious professions. You know what? It was exactly the same in Germany in 1935 until it ended, and it ended in a heartbeat. In Eretz Yisrael today, you have true heroes. You have men and women, the Chayalim, who fight for the survival of Eretz Yisrael. A one level higher, or at least the same madrega, are the men and women and children who live in Hebron. And what's really remarkable, I was there 3 weeks ago, and I will tell you that I'm used to dealing with tough guys as a criminal lawyer. But I never saw such toughness, not in people my age, in 5-year-olds, riding their scooters, rollerblading, back and forth to yeshiva, surrounded by Palestinians who would kill them in a second without remorse and would be celebrated as heroes. And with their little backpacks and their peyot flying and their tzitzit flying, they're running back and forth with a soccer ball, and they are oblivious to the danger that surrounds them. And I think they are oblivious to the danger that surrounds them because they have a greater emunah than the people in this room, with the exception of the people from Hebron, with all respect, a greater emunah than any of us, in my judgment, could even conceptualize. And it is for that reason that we have to recognize the people who live there not as fanatics, not as a fringe element that is in a place where they do not belong. Because that's what the world would like to classify them as. The people of Hebron are viewed by the world as a sore point. The suggestion being that if they were gone, everything would be peaceful in the region. Well, we know that's a lie. And if we didn't know it before the last 2 years, we know it now, because our brothers and sisters and children and relatives and friends are being blown up in Tel Aviv, in Yerushalayim, in Netanya, in Herzliya, in every city, in every corner of Yerushalayim. And the terrorist acts that happen in Hebron happen every 20 minutes. And they don't even get noticed except for the people who really care about this small enclave of people. And they're not crazy. If you go there and you meet them and you talk to them and you look at the smiling faces of these kids, they are just like your kids. They play with the same toys. They do the same projects. But they do them behind bulletproof glass. And they do them from within armored personnel carriers. We're not shooting the Palestinians in Abu Sinai, which are the hills which hover over Hebron. They're shooting us. Shalhavet Pes was 10 months old when a bullet pierced her head. 10 months old. That was not an accidental ricochet. That was an intentional act of murder. And it's an intentional act of murder that we need to understand. And it was our 10-month-old child who was murdered. And none of you, God forbid, if something like that happened to one of your children, none of you would stand quiet. None of you would stand fast. You would do something. You would get angry. You would march. You would fight. You would write a check. So march. And those of you who can fight, and those of you who can go to rallies, go. And those of you who know congressmen and senators, email them and write to them, because it does matter. I was at a dinner party where Hillary Clinton got up and she gave the best supporting speech for Eretz Yisrael I've ever heard in my life. You know what happened? 3 million Jews in New York spoke. And 3 million Jews in New York said, you want to be a senator? You want to be the senator for the largest Jewish population in the United States? Well, wake up and smell the coffee, Hillary. The Jews care about Israel first. Then they care about your health care plan. And if you don't care about Israel, and if you don't speak about Israel, you're not going to be a senator. You're not going to be voted in, and you're not going to be able to come back. And she was changed. Your voices do count. I work for an assemblyman. They count, male. they count public opinion. Do something. But what you need to do is read about Hebron, and don't forget tonight, because we forget, and the world forgets far more quickly than we do. And the world forgets immediately. The world now believes that it's quiet in Eretz Yisrael because Baruch Hashem, a week has gone by and a restaurant has not been blown up. We had one attack in the United States in the history of the country, and that's all we talk about. And that's all the country talks about. And that's all the news and the media talk about is 9/11. 9/11. It's understandable. But proportionately, that happens every week in Eretz Yisrael. And the only honest difference that any intelligent person can point to is the fact that in Eretz Israel, it's generally only Jews who are being killed. And when Jews are being killed, it's not such a big deal. And there was a cartoon, a terrible cartoon in the New York Post, and it was a very, very scary cartoon. It was Yasser Arafat talking to Saddam Hussein. And Saddam Hussein says to Arafat, I don't understand. He said, I am in Iraq. I'm minding my own business. All I'm doing is making chemicals. And the whole world is bombing me and threatening me and killing me, and they're taking me over and trying to depose me. You are a terrorist for your entire life, and you're getting the Nobel Prize. What's the difference, Yasser? And Arafat's response on the cartoon is, I only kill Jews. Think about it.